started. I'm Ryan. I'll be the Toastmaster for today. Welcome. Hope everyone's enjoying the somewhat warmer weather. All relative though, right? Well, we'll go ahead and get started. And we'll have Andy come up as our grammarian and also provide us with the word of the day.
As a grammarian, my role today is to count any filler words that we may potentially use today, and also look for unique and creative phrases. And finally, supply a word of the day. I chose the word roseate. It means overly optimistic. And the sentence that I use is after good grades, the graduate had a roseate future ahead of them. Thank you.
We'll have Amit come up and give us an introduction with regards to the timer's role, and then we'll just invite him to continue his stay up here and provide some reports.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. This much of love, what can I do? So much fun. The timer's role is very important in Toastmasters. When you talk, your time is precious. So a speaker usually gives us the time. The first speaker, Diganta, has asked for 8 to 10 minutes. So at 8 minutes, I show him a green. At 9 minutes, I show him a yellow. And 10 minutes, I show him a red. At 10.3 minutes, I basically buzz it. Exactly. And at 11 minutes, Chris and I physically lift him and pick him up. So a speaker gets that. For table topics, we have 2 minutes. So at 1 minute, I again show you a green. At 1.5 minutes, I show you a yellow. And at 2 minutes, I show you a red card. And if you are going for a competition, if you exceed 2:15, all your good work which you have done goes to 0. So you might as well finish on time. For evaluators, you get 3 minutes. So at 2 minutes, I show you a green. 2.5 minutes, I show you a yellow. 3 minutes, I show you a red. If you can't evaluate somebody in 3 minutes, there must be something wrong, not with the speaker, but with the evaluator. Mr. Toastmaster. So I'm the humor master. So what happened was this new couple, they went to a new neighborhood. And the wife would be complaining every day. She would call her husband and said, come, see what you've done. Husband said, what did I do? Look out of the window. The neighborhood is filled up with filthy people. She said, why? She said, look at the clothes they're hanging there. It's all brown. It's all darkish. They don't even wash it properly. Why don't you give them a bottle of Tide? Husband says, honey, it'll be fine. Tomorrow it'll be clear. Don't worry. Tomorrow comes. Wife is agitated. You didn't listen to me. You didn't. See what's happening. They're all dirty and they're hanging their clothes. They don't even have a drying machine. Husband said, we'll be fine. Don't worry, honey. So this went on for 2-3 days, and suddenly one day the poor guy comes after a night shift. He's sleeping at night. His wife is waking him up. Honey, you have to come. Come, see. So what happened? The clothes are all white. You must have done something. You must have gone and given a bottle of Tide or something. It's brilliant. Husband said, I told you it was going to happen. No, but what did you do? Oh, it's okay, don't worry. No. Tell me, what did you do? She says, I did nothing. I went outside our house and washed the windows. A lot of time, ladies and gentlemen, we blame everybody. We blame this, we blame President Obama, we blame Mayo Clinic, we blame our neighborhood, I blame my wife, my kids, for my dysfunction. It's all in the head. If you want to be a Toastmaster, if you want to listen to talk and speech, come here and speak. Don't bother how you're doing it, do it. That way you clean your own window and you don't blame anybody else. No times required.
Thank you, Joe, especially such late notice. It brings to mind a biblical reference of, cast out the first, being more mote within our own eye before we lift others. Right? Thanks, Amit. We'll go ahead and move into the main portion of our meeting with our speakers. Digant is going to be our first speaker today, and the title of his speech is Hindu Last Rites. He's requested 8 to 10 minutes, and something interesting about Digant, and if you were here a few weeks back, you probably already know about his relationship with the IRS isn't the best, and he wanted to notate that, and hopefully he does receive a return on his taxes this year. So I guess this is kind of a late precursor if you were not in attendance at one of our last meetings, but you can ask him for the story behind it. So Diganta, please come up.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, guests. The topic of my speech today is Hindu last rites. A few weeks ago, a colleague of mine passed away in Mayo Clinic. And I was thinking of going to his funeral. And then I thought, I've never been to any Christian funeral. What do I wear? What do I bring with me, like flowers or anything? How do I greet with members of the grieving family? And all of a sudden I was not comfortable with the feeling of the idea of going to the funeral. And then I got busy and forgot. So today I'm going to share with you Hindu last rites. So what happens in India, because most of the people who live in India are Hindus. So the Hindu last rites can be divided into 3 themes. The first one is mourning, you mourn. The second is peace for the departed soul. And the third is onward journey. The mourning part. When the person passes away, the remains is brought to the front yard of the house, and friends, family, relatives, and community members, they gather. The eldest son sprinkles water on the lips of the deceased, and then puts cosmetic paste made of natural ingredients on the face and feet, if the deceased was his mother. And then other people follow, they do the same thing. The elders don't touch the feet, they do the other parts. Then everybody bows, gives a final homage to the deceased person. Then the remains is moved to a wooden stretcher, which is supposed to be carried by 4 people. The eldest son leads the procession to the cremation ground with a burning torch in his right hand. The females stay back to take care of other things. At the cremation ground, a pyre is already made. The procession encircles the pyre, and the remains is put on the pyre. The children pays their last respect at that point. And the sons, they lit the pyre. It takes about 4 to 5 hours for the remains to turn into ashes. And they stay there for the whole time. If it rains, they try to cover it with tarpaulin or some other things, but it has to turn into ashes. And when it ends, they collect some of the ashes for subsequent rituals. A memorial is made right at that spot. Now the second thing, which is peace for the departed soul. On the 3rd day, the community members, some of the community members and some of the spiritual people, they gather and they give the eldest son the honor to lead a monk-like life till the 10th day. The eldest son is given 2 sheets of clothes to wear, and he has to sleep on a bed made of hay on floor. and he has to fast the whole daytime. And before sunset, he has to make his own meal, cook his own meal in an earthen pot over fire. And that goes on until the 10th day. Other family members can have 2 meals, but the son can have only 1. And the special thing about the meal is it has to be boiled, no oil, no salt, no spices, pretty bland. And that goes on until the 10th day. It is believed, it is roseate belief that by doing so, the soul attains peace. The departed soul attains peace. On the 10th day, there is another ceremony. At that ceremony, a priest is engaged to do religious rituals. And it happens on a bank of a river, if possible. And the ashes which were collected earlier are purified, and at that point, the ashes can be taken inside the house. After these rituals are finished, the sons shave their heads, and they throw away all the clothes they were wearing into the river, and they leave home. They leave for home. They come back to home, and at home they have other ceremonies on that day. All this is done to make sure that the departed soul gets peace and fulfillment. Now, the eldest son can have 2 meals, but the quality of the meal is same. It has to be boiled, no oils, salt or spices. The hay bed is removed and replaced with a similar, normal bed, but still on the floor. On the 13th day is the biggest day of the whole ceremony, all the ceremonies, and that 13th day event is for the onward journey. The priest does rituals chanting Vedic mantras. And the goal is to connect all the connections from this mortal world and let the soul be free and go as high as possible as far as spiritual levels are concerned. There are night-long vespers, chanting of mantras and chanting of religious songs, and then there are a lot of bowing to the spiritual leaders or spiritual folks who gather to give blessings to the family members. And at the end, it is believed that, it is assumed that the soul has reached where it was supposed to be. The soul is connected with the ancestors, and the ancestors are supposed to help the soul to go higher. Once it is felt that the soul has actually reached the place where they wish to reach, a celebration takes place. If meal is offered to the community and there is a big gathering, could be 500,000, 5,000 people, depending on the friend circle or the social circle of the person. And after that point on, the grief is not there. It's a celebration because the soul has been detached and the soul has reached its home. Now, India is a diverse country, and there are a lot of communities. So there are a lot of variations to these main events. communities can have their own variations. For example, in one community, nephews, grandson, everybody shaves their head. In other community, they repeat the 13th day event every month for 11 months. And there are other things. In the end, I would conclude with the fact that my mom passed away last month, and I had to go through all these events. And it was an eye-opener to me. I didn't know there are so many good things happen when the time comes. And I think that going through these events of mourning, peace for the departed soul, and onward journey helped me to become a better person. Thank you so much.
I'm going to pick it at 1 minute for evaluations.
It's time.
Before we invite Courtney up, I apologize, I failed to recognize any visitors here with us today for Penny Marie. So welcome. Glad you're here with us today. So Courtney's going to be our next speaker. The title of her speech is Lessons of Parenthood. She's requested 5 to 7 minutes. And something interesting about Courtney is that she hates any sort of fruit. Any and all fruit. So there may be a potential speech in the future of the reason behind all of that. But at this time, we'll invite Courtney up for her speech. So that introduction.
How many of you have changed a diaper? That doesn't have to be your own diaper. Excellent. I became a parent for the first time in September of 2013, and I've learned many, many valuable lessons. And today I would like to share 3 of those most valuable lessons with you today. So, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, welcome back, guests. I'm going to share these lessons with you and hope you can extract something from them on your own. The first lesson I learned, the diaper. So simple in its little design, so crucial in its function. So crucial in its function. Undefeated foe. There is a phenomenon associated with the diaper that I don't know if you guys are aware about. I'm going to fill you in to make your lives easier, and it is called the punami. Okay? You know what I'm talking about? I can tell by the laughs, you can kind of guess what this is. I first encountered this foe shortly after my daughter was born. She was sleeping so peacefully, I'll never forget it, in her swing, just swinging back and forth, and the soft little melodies playing in her swing. And I'm playing cards with my parents, and all of a sudden, it hits us. God, what is that smell? Yeah, my daughter's diaper. It's that smell that makes you turn around and look like, oh God, you look for the dead animal. It's bad. You think, oh God, you're like, honey, the baby needs to be changed. You don't want to touch that. My daughter had a dirty diaper. Pick her up out of the swing, and she is drenched. It is back, up the back, on the neck, seeping into the brand new swing, and I'm just, okay. We go, and we clean her up, and I'm thinking, where is my husband? What are we doing? So, the diaper. is not one to be underestimated. You need to appreciate the diaper, and you almost hold it in high esteem, because if that diaper goes, we're all in trouble. You've all seen the walk associated with the punami. It's the bow leg little stride that says, it is coming down my legs, Mom, it is coming out of my back, and there is more coming. Lesson 1, welcome to parenthood. Lesson 2, growing up, I had 2 clear goals in life. 1, marry Bob Barker. And I'm serious, I was gonna marry Bob Barker. And 2, to quote a younger me, literally, I did not want to have children because they are too hard to push out. Sounded knowledge, right? I see the ladies not, I was right, I've had 2 kids. I was not off base. Clearly, I outgrew the Bob Barker thing, and I'm sure my husband will be glad, and everybody else is glad. But I didn't want to have kids, they were too hard to push out. And you all heard the kids, all the kids I pictured were the screaming, crying, hungry babies at the supermarket that were just screaming and crying, and I'm over here by the milk, they're over there. I know they're coming up thinking, who is hurting this child? There are the screaming children with the dirty peanut butter smush face, and they are screaming, and I'm like, no, this is not for me. But as I had parents, I realized that that's not the kid's fault. The kid is just trying to tell Mommy and Daddy, I am not up for this grocery marathon that you just seem intent on having right now. We're not doing this. It was the parents. It was the parents I hated, not the kids. At that point, I realized, however, that your children are a reflection of you as a parent. And children live what they learn. And they are a reflection of your experiences and what you can teach them. And it made me take a look at myself. I was not going to have that kid screaming, whether or not I taught him better or I just left him for somebody else to deal with. I was not going to have those screaming kids. It made me look at myself and the kind of person that I wanted to be, for an example, for my children. And it made me take a look at, what do I do in my life? Will my children be proud? I did not. Oh my gosh. I got rid of Facebook before my daughter was born. I did not want to have to explain any drunken Facebook pictures that I couldn't even remember somebody took. I didn't want to explain any questionable Snapchat videos or whatever it is. It made me really take a hard look at myself and understand that I am in a new role. I answer to somebody permanently. Everything I do, I owe those children an explanation why I did it. I needed to set a good example for them if I expected them to not be the screaming, crying children, but the kids saying, Mommy, the kid's loud. The third lesson I've learned. This one took a few years in the making. My brother Josh is 6 years older than me. He was driving me to O'Hare when I first worked up here, and he wanted to have a conversation in the car on the way to the airport about where my life was going. It was going great. Just got a job in Maine. I'm out of school. I'm making money instead of racking up debt. What do you need to talk about, Josh? And then he tells me this. Courtney, the purest love a person can feel is the love a parent has for a child. Great, I don't have kids. We know. The only thing I'm thinking about is, my flight takes off in 2 hours, you better finish it up, Josh. It wasn't until I had both of my children, actually, not just Lily, but I had Michael too, that I realized the power of that statement. I thought to myself, one day, I can't even tell you, it was such a random thought, I can't even tell you what I was doing, but I thought, we are all in such a hurry to grow up. We want to grow up and be financially stable and be an adult and be sound and grow up and together, right? You become a parent, totally reverses. You don't have enough money. You don't have enough money. You don't know what you're doing. You are not an adult. You spend your days watching Bubble Guppies and DJ Masks. You are not watching the news anymore. Most importantly, you are not emotionally stable. By any stretch of the imagination. I had intended that to be funny, but yes, it is. You were not emotionally stable because the only thing at that point I could think of was how you were held emotionally captive by somebody else's well-being. If something happens to your children, you are reduced. You can be crying hysterically on the floor, just thinking about it, or you could be tearing up in a room full of strangers. just like your emotional well-being rests on your children. And that's one of the biggest thing I learned as a parent. Those lessons shaped me and the person I am today and the person I'm going to be in the future. The first lesson, the diaper. Do not underestimate that diaper, okay? Parenting.
Joe, it's looking forward to so you can introduce our table topics. And Joe, if you wouldn't mind just giving a brief outline of what that entails, the purpose for our guests today, that would be great.
Good afternoon, hi leaders, Toastmaster, and guests. Before you, I have a topic master, and I'm going to say what I would be in my question, but I'd like Amy to come down here. The topic master is, she has no idea what I'm about to, and that's good. It's, the question is really that easy, and so. The question is, you might know me if you recognize the movies. I love the movies. Not so much horror movies, but action movies. The movie that might appeal to you. I'd like Amy to just tell us a little bit about your favorite movie.
In my house, I take advantage of the fact that I am the only female. 2 boys and, of course, their father. I purchase things in the color of pink when I don't want anyone else to use it. I'm going to hoard it. It's pink because no one else will want to use it when it's that color. I use my favorite movie, Pride and Prejudice, to threaten when I've seen enough Rocky movies, enough Star Wars, enough Godfather, enough ESPN. I could go on, but at some point there is a limit. And they all know when I start talking about Pride and Prejudice that it's time to move on to something a little more feminine or just maybe a little less masculine. My favorite book, my favorite movie, miniseries, I've watched them all, every version of Pride and Prejudice, been there, done that. It's my favorite.
Ann? Yeah.
I don't know if I actually have a favorite movie. There are just a lot of movies that come to my mind, but I could tell you the genre. I typically like, believe it or not, action movies more so than romantic. But I do like romantic comedy movies. Kind of mix it up once in a while. So that's something my husband likes to tease me about. Like, you always like watching, action movies. Probably taken from your dad. And I said, yeah, I guess, I'm the only girl, and my dad used to watch a lot of action movies. That was so I honestly can't think of a particular movie, maybe, but action movies.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Ann. It sounds like you two could maybe learn to like the opposite of what you enjoy there. At this point, we'll go ahead and invite Chris up for our general evaluator, and I'll allow him to introduce the rest of his evaluation team.
Governor, Toastmasters, and guests. I'm the general evaluator, and evaluations are really how you improve. This public speaking thing is the gateway drug to all of the good things on the other side of that speaking wall. It teaches you time management with a timer, and it teaches you to be concise with your topic and conclusion, your story. Just like with our speaking, our meeting management is also under scrutiny, and I help to facilitate that. Our first evaluator is Kaylee, and I'm going to invite her up to give her a review on the Ganta speech.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, Toastmasters, and guests, and especially Diganta. You gave us a speech today called Hindu Last Rites. And I thought that this speech was very well put together. I like that you started out with a personal story, because there was a lot of detail throughout your speech of the process that anyone that goes through the process of a funeral or a Hindu funeral in India, there was a lot of process steps that went with that, but I think starting out with the personal story of your colleague, and just, you know, when someone does pass away, that you've never been to a Christian funeral before, and so what is that like, and just the fact that, you know, as Americans we generally just think of what we experience here, but the fact that it might be a lot different if you've never been to one, or that it could even be uncomfortable to maybe go to one if you're not sure of how the process is going to go. So I like that you laid out the 3 themes in the very beginning, that there's the phases of mourning, peace, and the onward journey. I think the way that you discussed the process throughout your speech, you made it clear when you were transitioning to a different phase or a different theme, and that was really helpful because since there were kind of quite a few steps that went with each phase of the process, I think that could have gotten a little bit lost, but you had a nice transition between each part. I also think that you spoke very clearly, and you had a really good pace. You were calm. You had a nice delivery. Let's see. And then your ending experience, that really tied everything together nicely, just really wrapping up the fact that you've recently been through this process. I'm sorry to hear about the loss of your mom and your coworker, but I think that helps to tie it all in, of just, you know, you recently went through all this and what you've learned through that. I think for a few suggestions for improvements, you had notes with you, and they weren't distracting or anything, but I don't think you even needed them. You did really well, and I think you maybe glanced at them a couple times, but I would say if you don't need to bring them up, that would be good, but you know, it's nice to have a little safety net sometimes. Watch as I'm just doing that was one thing that popped out. And also just an evaluation sheet. I wasn't sure what to specifically check on, so that would be another suggestion. But overall, you did really well, and I enjoyed your speech.
Thank you, Katie. And secondly, I am going to call up evaluator number 2, who is going to go over Courtney's speech that dispelled any roseate expectations on parenthood. So please welcome Hiwa up for Courtney's evaluation.
Hi, fellow Toastmaster. Guest. Today I'm evaluate Courtney's speech. The speech title is Lesson of Parenthood. I really like the speech. It's light,
we make, we all have kids, most of us have kids, and we went through diapers and all other things. But we make it really interesting. Almost put a picture in front of us. We use the word like peanut butter babies. Think about, oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm pictured when the kids screaming. You organized your speech. You will tell us the 3 lessons, and you give detail in your speech about the diaper, the next cannot match the kid. As parents need to be strong and be the model of kids. And the next one, you grow your heart, grow your love. So at the very end, you give summarize your 3 lessons. I really like your speech. It's very organized and very it's alive, and you use your hands. When you say you pick up keys, you just try to use your gesture, and it's really added to the speech. And very interesting. Thank you very much.
Parenthood cannot be described with standing still in front. So that was a very entertaining speech. Next, I am going to call up Andrew for the grammarian's report.
Start off word of the day. I counted 2 people used it. Diganta and Chris both used the word of the day. As for filler words, Amit, you have none. Diganta, I counted a few. Courtney, I only counted 1. Joe, I counted a few. Haley and Highway, I counted a few. So overall, pretty good. There's always something we can work on. As for unique phrases, Diganta, I liked how you started off explaining monk-like life before you got into the next week of all elder stuff. Courtney, Punami has a lot of symptoms. Pooplosion was my household. Looking for a dead animal. Very nice. But overall, from the grammarian's report, very well. Just continue to watch our filler words. Thank you.
We have multiple grammarians in every meeting. We're very thorough in our evaluations here at High Nooners. Next, I would like to invite Amit up for his timers report.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. We did very well on time. My humor came at 1.53. Diganta's speech, we asked for 8 to 10, came at 10 minutes, 14 seconds. Courtney, 5 to 7, slightly exceeded time, 5:42, so you can speak a bit. Amy did well at 1.17, and you could have described some of those action movies, somebody punching somebody, somebody's dentures coming out. We had a lot of time. We just spent 48 seconds, so in another 20 seconds, you could have, all the dentures could have come out. Haley, you did great, 3.09, and Iowa, slightly more, 1.55. You could have put a bit more on it. I know you enjoyed it. That's very cool.
After our assigned role takers who are assigned for specific things, now it's my turn to evaluate and maybe fill in little holes. And while the thought is, on top, following Amit's suggestions, action movies can be very specific. And I was very surprised myself when my wife was impressed with The Avengers. And if you're going to be describing action movies, there's nothing better than the Hulk whipping down Loki, going boom, boom, unit gods. There's so many good things to describe in action movies. And if you love them, tell us why. This is what we are here for. We had some pretty good fill-in work again. High Nooners, one of their strengths is filling in when we have a vacancy. We are not a club that says, well, it's not my job, I'll just wait until somebody else does it. We don't do that here. That is something that I will constantly praise. We have a really good crowd. This is another thing that cannot be praised enough. If you do not have a role, come and support those, because we have more than just one manual that everybody should be going after. Not only are you working for your competent communicator manual to say, I need to get this done so I can go on to these more interesting speeches, do the technical talks, learn how to roast somebody, just learn how to be funny. Some people have it naturally, some people struggle with it, and it's a stumbling block. But having these other roles, evaluator, general evaluator, topic master, Toastmaster, you're going to be doing it anyway. You have a manual that you can review and be evaluated for the roles. An evaluator is evaluated. It's a little redundant, but it's crucial for getting your competent leader. We used to have another Chris with an L here, that he was a strong champion for bringing your competent leadership manual. You're here anyway. Get the credit. So that is one thing that we could do better. Finally, I don't think I can think of anything else. You're always trying. We are really good with the humor, with the seriousness, with the topics that capture everybody's attentions. I have yet to listen to a speech here that is not educational on some point. So the good, the bad, the good. I think I sandwiched a pretty good Toastmaster.
As I look around the room and when Courtney was giving her speech, I couldn't help but think of we call them blowouts at our house, but she's in a white blouse and a white jacket, and just, the two together with blowouts and white, and it's just a visual. So, as we close our meeting, thank you to everyone, but I'd like to go over next week's assignments. As Toastmaster, we have Shelley. Grammarian is Courtney. Timer is myself. Humor Inspiration is Amy. Speaker number 1 will be Chris next week. Speaker number 2 is Stacy. Topic Master will be Jenny. General Evaluator will be Joe.
Which Joe? Me.
Oppold. Unless you two want to duke it out.
No, I'm doing it.
It's clear. Evaluator number 1 will be Deganta, and evaluator number 2 will be Brandt. Any edits or changes to that? Any announcements from our leadership folks?
We have the district conference, spring conference coming up, and Area 54 is the supreme winner in our area, because for Division F, this Area 54 is sending 2 winners up to the district. IBMers are sending their champion for the Table Topics contest, and we have Amit. It's about, what is it, $15 if you want to do onesie-twosie things at the conference. go to the, was it d6tm.org? Is that our?
District 6,
Yeah, is that our website?
Toastmasters.
And that will have all of the information regarding prices and the agenda. Table topics contest is Friday evening, and the international is Saturday evening. Please go to that. I'm gonna try and make it up there all day for Friday and Saturday myself. And I think a couple others are coming. But, yep, Courtney.
Go on
But
it.
I don't know, is there any other announcements? We're wrapping up our officer recruitment, and I think we're gonna try and go back to some of the basics and provide an election form, yea or nay, so we'll look for that sometime in the near future. Other than that, any other announcements from the other officers or members?
And we got 2 awards from the district.
Oh, yes.
We are one of the few clubs who got 2 awards. So maximum awards you can get is 2. We got 2 early awards. So you'll be getting a $10 gift certificate, $20 actually in total. So we Chambers got 2 awards. We got 2 awards. The rest of the Mayo Clinic Toastmasters, I think some of them got 1 award. So we did really well. Number of new members and some of the CC manuals and all that which you have completed. Just came in yesterday.
I will do my best to find where, because Amit, I think, pointed, I must have skimmed over. I will try and find that information and forward that on to the membership.
Actually, it's in the Facebook and also the district website. They've put it up.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Could I suggest maybe that in an email to all of us, perhaps we could have, like you just mentioned, that maybe the link to the district and some of
Yes.
its accomplishments as well as the upcoming event.
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
Oh.
Sorry.
Because they'll be asking me which club I represent,
Yeah.
which area I am in,
Where's
and
that?
I will tell them.
Yeah.
Right.
Mayo High Nooners. If you want to be in a club, be in Mayo High Nooners.
There we go.
There you go.
And there will also be an email going out for next week as the last Moment of Truth series. Joe Sharp is relieved for that. All that information. I'm kidding, Joe. I like to tease you. You're a good sport. And there will also be another notice about, with Amit's comment about the increased membership, we are going to throw out a proposal, again, yea or nay, about being a little more proactive, each Toastmaster with the VP of Education, on having a voluntary third speaker format.
I'm the education person that you would have to coordinate with.
But more information is coming out, so please don't ignore the upcoming emails. Thank you.
Thank you. As we close here, just a reminder to drop your evaluation forms in the little baskets in the back. And once again, welcome to our guests that visited. And if you're interested in joining or further questions, feel free to ask any one of us. So with that, we'll adjourn until next week. Thanks.
Nice to see you. Yes.
You're welcome.
I'll make sure to bring our mascot.
Yes, for sure. I did not expect that, but thank you, Joe. Because I
Good.
was
Are you thinking of applying for president?
I'm sorry?
I was not
President for
prepared
the
for
club?
Oh, I had another role in mind. There was another role in mind for me, so.
It might be a second year plan. So first year's another role. And
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm definitely excited about it, however.
Oh, I saw you jump out of your seat when I said that.